I completely underestimated how much time it was going to take me to go through these hauls. Thank you for watching all the way through. This is the 4th video of my haul series, the massive haul for 2021. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope that you are populating your melanin eclectic reading planners. Mine is over there for 2020 and my 2022 one is over there. And sorry, my 2021 one is here. My 2022 one is over there. And anyway, this list might be really helpful for you to think about any backlist titles that you'd like to pick up for 2022. And also, if you want to buy gifts for your bookish friends who are interested in Black science fiction fantasy, or for you, I hope that this list is going to be very helpful. These are additions to my collection that I'm really super happy about. There will be 2 more as I pull a stack towards me. There will be 2 more videos in this video series. This is the one that I'm going to go through right now. Stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy the haul. Now, before I get to this particular list, I know that in one of my last videos, I was thinking, you know, should I use the book haul term anymore? Is that appropriate? And I totally forgot that I was going to try to use something different. And I think Shannon from That So Post said, well, you could call it like new library acquisitions, I think was her suggestion. So I have to think about that for 2022, like what language I want to use, because it's not just a matter of purchasing books, it's also, or acquiring books, because many of these are gifts that I got, because for the first year I put a massive list of wish lists books on my Amazon, and a lot of people bought me birthday presents, including Tommy as well. So many of these are actually gifts, and I'm happy because I didn't have to buy them myself, which is awesome. In any event, this particular haul, I think most of these are standalones, and they are fantasy for the most part, a number of science fiction, but I think they're mostly fantasy. And I'll talk to you again, as I've been doing with this entire series, I'll talk to you about why I bought the book and what I'm looking forward to. So here we go. This is A Master of Djinn by P. Djèlí Clark. This is his first novel. He's got a ton of novellas. So I've read Ring Shout, I've read Black Odds Drums. I also read A Dead Djinn in Cairo. No, I haven't read A Dead Djinn in Cairo. I'm just looking back here. There's about to be a problem. Hold on. A Dead Djinn in Cairo, I think. Oh, it's The Haunting of Tramcore 015. That's the one that I read. But A Dead Djinn in Cairo is online, and I have to get better at it, but I like reading things physically. I don't like reading online a lot, so that's one I should read, because this is all from the same world. So apparently A Master of Djinn actually follows a character that I was really interested in from Tramcar 015. So here we go. Let me read the synopsis, and then I'll go to my sticky note where I tell you a few more things. So, Cairo 1912, though Fatma el-Shawari is the youngest woman working for the Ministry of Alchemy, Enchantments, and Supernatural Entities, she's certainly not a rookie, especially after preventing the destruction of the universe last summer. No big deal. So when someone murders the members of a secret brotherhood dedicated to one of the most famous men in history, Al-Jahiz, Agent Fatma is called on the case. Al-Jahiz transformed the world 40 years ago when he opened up the veil between the magical and mundane realms before vanishing into the unknown. This murderer claims to be Al-Jahiz, returned to condemn the modern age for its social oppressions. His dangerous magical abilities instigate unrest in the streets of Cairo that threatens to spill onto the global stage. Alongside her ministry colleagues and a familiar face from her past, Agent Fatma must unravel the mystery behind this imposter to restore peace in the city, or face the possibility he could be exactly who he seems. So, A Dead Djinn in Cairo, published by Tor. This is seen as speculative steampunk. 1912 Cairo, obviously really interesting, gorgeous cover by Stephanie Martin. And yes, this, let's see, yeah, the actual physical book itself outside the just cover is just fine. But I think that P. Djeli Clark is a masterful writer, definitely an insta purchase for me. So I'm looking forward to this, and I'm also looking forward to seeing this stud of a character that showed up in Tramcar 015. Absolutely. So about P. Djeli Clark, born in New York and raised mostly in Houston, P. Djeli Clark spent the formative years of his life in Trinidad and Tobago, the homeland of his parents. He is the award-winning and Hugo and Sturgeon-nominated author of the novellas The Blackguard's Drums, The Haunting of Tramcar 015. His writing has appeared in online venues such as Tor.com, Daily Science Fiction, Heroic Fantasy Quarterly, Apex Magazine, Lightspeed, and Beneath Ceaseless Skies, and in print anthologies including Griots, Hidden Youth, and Clockwork Cairo. His short story, The Secret Lives of the Nine Negro Teeth of George Washington, has earned him both a Nebula and a Locus Award. He is a founding member of Fire Magazine of Black Speculative Fiction and an infrequent reviewer at Strange Horizons. He's also just brilliant and lovely to listen to and super humble. So you can watch the replay of the FireCon 2021 convention because he was on a couple of panels and he was just really lovely. So that's P. Djeli Clark. The next one is Son of the Storm, and I believe that this was this was given to me, yes, by Orbit Books, I'm pretty sure. So thank you, Orbit, for that. So this is the first book of the Nameless Republic. Gorgeous cover. Everybody's talking about this beautiful cover of Son of the Storm. Yes, and this is by Sui Davies Okumboa. Okay, in the city of Bassa, Danso is a clever scholar on the cusp of achieving greatness, only he doesn't want it. Instead, he prefers to chase forbidden stories about what lies outside the city walls. The Basai elite claim there is nothing of interest. The city's immigrants are sworn to secrecy. But when Danso stumbles across a warrior wielding magic that shouldn't exist, he's put on a collision course with Bassa's darkest secrets. Drawn into the city's hidden history, he sets out on a journey beyond its borders, and the chaos left in the wake of his discovery threatens to destroy an empire. So this is the beginning of a series. I will probably, if I know myself, wait until there are more books that I can access. So what was interesting for me, so I'm just looking at my little sticky, very popular release, a gorgeous cover. By Dan Dos Santos. I read David Mogo Godhunter, which was written by the same author, and I thought that it was really well done, and so I'm looking forward to this as well. I'm hoping for there to be some like queer content and representation in here because I think there was in David Mogo Godhunter. Themes for forbidden magic, uncovered secrets, a reluctant influencer, all are very interesting to me. There is also a map in the book, and I enjoy books with maps. And if you are doing, I think it's the Magical Readathon, you need a book with a map. Here's a map. I love the inscription, and it is the beginning of a series. So the inscription says, "For everyone fighting for space in a world designed to spit you out, you are seen, you are heard, you are loved." Yes. So that is Son of the Storm. Okay. All right. I'm not going to talk about this too much, but this is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. The reason why I am including this is because this cover is my preferred cover. There's another cover that is red and white up here, and I admit that I purchased this one because I like paintings and faces. I prefer this cover to this cover. So I got the cover that I want, and I am going to be giving away this one. Probably, I haven't read it or anything like that. It's been on my shelf, so this is probably going to be a present for one of my friends, and I think I know which friend it's going to be. So that is going away, and this is going on the shelf. All right, I have some Okay, I want to talk about some of the new things before I talk about some of the older things that I have here. Yes. Okay. This is The Bone of Ruin by Sarah Raleigh, who is a Black writer, and she lives in southwestern Ontario. So, first of all, gorgeous cover. As she spun around on the tightrope to wave to the other side of the crowd, her feet slipped and she fell. Iris's heart stopped, her breath snuffed out as the crowd began shouting. She hoped the gawking men and women below would have had enough sense to catch her, but that was apparently the problem. As her body hit a wave of arms, her head turned too quickly. The last sensation she felt before everything turned dark was her own neck snapping from the sheer force of the fall. Alas, she had died. Again. So she has the uncanny habit of not dying. So as an African tightrope dancer in Victorian London, Iris is used to being strange. She is certainly a strange sight for the leering British audiences, always eager for the spectacle of colonial curiosity. Sorry, this was the week that Barbados claimed its independence, and so I'm just like, death to colonial curiosity, but also good job, Barbados. But Iris has also has a secret that even strange doesn't capture. She just can't die. Haunted by her unnatural power and with no memories of her past, Iris is obsessed with discovering who she is. But that mission gets more complicated when she meets the dark and alluring Adam Temple, a member of a mysterious order called the Enlightenment Committee. Don't trust secret orders that have the word enlightenment in them. Adam seems to know much more about her than he lets on. Flag number 2. And he shares with her a terrifying revelation. The world is ending and the committee will decide who lives and who doesn't. Bad news all around. To help them choose a leader for the upcoming apocalypse, the committee is holding the Tournament of Freaks, a macabre competition made up of vicious fighters with fantastical abilities. Adam wants Iris to be his champion, and in return, he promises her the one thing she wants most, the truth about who she really is. If Iris wants to learn about her shadowy past, she has no choice but to fight. But the further she gets in the grisly tournament, the more she begins to remember, and the more she wonders if the truth isn't something best left forgotten. Lots of interesting themes, a forgotten past, somebody who knows more than you do, having to do something to earn information that ought to be yours. I feel like this is my diary. So YA fantasy, gorgeous cover, secret society, decolonization, circuses, right? I talked about carnivals and festivals when I talked about Bacchanal by Veronica G. Henry, as well as the marvelous Dr. Jin. I got the name wrong. It's quite long. So I haven't read a Raleigh book yet. I have a trilogy. It's a YA trilogy, and I started it, but I had to put it down because I knew that I didn't have enough time to finish the entire trilogy. But also I had read a lot of YA at the time and just felt like, you know what, I need to put that away. But I will pick it up again because I'm interested in reading what comes out of this woman's imagination. This sounds incredible. I believe that it is is it the first of a series? I am not sure, but I'm definitely moved by the fact that this is a tome with, you know, it's set in Victorian times, but has like a really strong anti-colonial energy to it. So I'm looking forward to it. Also, the cover, fiery and amazing. And there's also full imagery on the back as well. And then let's see what and then your standard red and black on the inside. And yes, there's some embossing here. And Sarah Raleigh, who is she? She grew up in southern Ontario writing stories about freakish little girls with powers because she secretly wanted to be one. Aw, me too. She's a huge fangirl of anything from manga to SFF to TV to Japanese role-playing games, but at book signings she will swear up and down that she was inspired by Jane Austen. On top of being a YA writer, Sarah has a PhD in English, which makes her a doctor. So it turns out she didn't have to go to medical school after all. Visit her at sarahraleigh.com. That's an amazing bio. And yes, looking forward to this. You have heard about Black Sun. I have Black Sun. I don't really need to say much about it. It's Rebecca Roanhorse. I loved not Storm of Locusts. What is it called? I forgot the name of it. Trail of Lightning. I enjoyed Trail of Lightning. I haven't read Storm of Locusts yet. It's a thing with series. I have to sort of read them all together. Unless I find that I don't feel that way about the YA's ones. But first of all, look at that cover. Blurbed by Ken Liu, Stephen Graham Jones, S.A. Chakraborty, R.F. Kwong, Justina Ireland, Tochi Onyebuchi, Peng Shepard. And there's a full color map inside, y'all. I'll tell you about that in a second. Here, this is book 1 of the Between Earth and Sky trilogy. In the holy city of Tova, the winter solstice is usually a time for celebration and renewal, but this year it coincides with a solar eclipse, a rare celestial event prescribed by the sun priest as an unbalancing of the world. Meanwhile, a ship launches from a distant city bound for Tova and set to arrive on the solstice. The captain of the ship, Zyala, is a disgraced teak whose song can calm the waters around her as easily as it can warp a man's mind. Her ship carries one passenger described as harmless. The passenger, Serapio, is a young man, blind, scarred, and cloaked in destiny. As Zyala well knows, when a man is described as harmless, he usually ends up being a villain. True! Crafted with unforgettable characters, Rebecca Roanhorse's epic adventure exploring the decadence of power amidst the weight of history and the struggle of individuals swimming against the confines of society and their broken past is the most original series debut of the decade. Of the decade, folks. So Rebecca Roanhorse is such a skilled writer. Black Sun has already received a bunch of nominations. And I'm sure that it has... I'm not on top of my awards right now, but I think I've heard that it's won several. When did this come out? This was 2020. So, yes. Oh, I think it's up for a few. He's up for, like, some Hugos. Check out this beautiful map, though. Front. Back. Rebecca Roanhorse is the New York Times best-selling author of Trail of Lightning, Storm of Locusts, Star Wars, Resistance Reborn, and Race to the Sun. She's won Nebula, Hugo, and Locus Awards for her fiction, and she was the recipient of the 2018 Astounding Award for Best New Writer. She lives in New Mexico with her family. I'm really happy to have a voice like hers on the planet. LeVar Burton. LeVar Burton is so awesome. I love the way that he supports emerging writers and just contributes to the canon through all of his amazing work, including his podcast. And speaking of LeVar Burton, I mean, we might as well talk about an acquisition I am very, very excited about. Written by none other than LeVar Burton. This is Aftermath. And so LeVar Burton has his own premier book club. There's an app. You pay for it and you can be a part of this community. And I guess the first book that he's reading, or the next book that he's reading, is Aftermath, a novel of the future. Now, this novel of the future was actually written in the past. It was written in the 90s, 1997. So this is what LeVar did. 2012, the first black president is assassinated. 2015, the economic and social fabric collapse amidst civil war. 2019, the federal government dissolves, leaving a continent of homeless refugees and armed militias. Aftermath. A desperate land needs a miracle. Suddenly, 3 strangers, a derelict ex-physicist, a little girl, a Lakota shaman, are bound by the same dreams, the same visions, and each begins a quest of courage across a shattered nation to rescue a woman not one has met. Okay, so very mysterious. I'm excited because it's LeVar. Like, why wouldn't I didn't even know LeVar Burton had written a novel. Did you know LeVar Burton had written a novel? I did not. And so this is 300 pages or so, 282. And there's a picture of LeVar. This book is so 90s, like just the cover and then the big face and the blurbs and everything. I'm happy. So yes, the fact that we are in 2021, so we are living in the time after this imagined world, is also really interesting to me as well. He imagined 15 years into the future, so it'll be cool to see what was accurate, and yes, what perhaps is still to happen. Who knows? So that is LeVar Burton. Okay, a couple of others, and then I'm going to get into, I'm going to do the new ones, and then there are a couple of ones that are more classic that I want to talk about. So I'll leave those until the end. So the next one is by the lovely Eugene Bacon. It is called Dang Black Thing. I received a gift copy from Eugene, and that makes me very happy because she's amazing. And she has really lovely handwriting. So thank you, Eugene, for this. All right, so she talked about this on during the interview that we did for Written with Purpose. So you should check that out if you'd like to learn more about Eugene Bacon, but also about this book. All right, Danged Black Thing is an extraordinary oh, this is a collection of short stories. Excuse me, I thought this was a novel. It is not. Oh, so she has an Afrofuturism. She has like books, okay? She has 2 or 3 books coming out next year. This came out toward the end of the year, but she's got an Afrofuturist novel coming out next year, which I'm super excited about. So this is a collection. I should have put this in my collection of short stories the last video, but here we are. So Dang Black Thing is an extraordinary collection of stories about love and migration, gender and class, patriarchy and womanhood from a remarkable and original voice. Traversing the West and Africa, they celebrate the author's own hybridity and breathtaking sensuousness and lyricism. Simbiyu wins a scholarship to study in Australia but cannot leave behind a world of walking barefoot orange sun and his longing for a once pillow-soft mother. In his past, a darkness rose from the river, and something nameless and mystical continues to envelop his life. In A Taste of Unguja, sweet terror music full of want seeps into a mother's life on the streets of Melbourne as she evokes the powers of her ancestors to seek vengeance on her cursed ex. In the cyberpunk of unlimited data, Natukunda, a village woman, gives her all for her family in old Kampala. Other stories explore with power what happens when the water runs dry and who pays. Okay, I have to read that again. Other stories explore with power what happens when the water runs dry and who pays. Capture the devastating effects on women and children of societies in which men hold all the power and themes of being, belonging, otherness. Speculative, realistic, and even mythological, but always imbued with truth and empathy and blackness, Danged Black Thing is a literary knockout. Short story collection by Eugene Bacon, who is absolutely awesome. And yeah, I'm intrigued by her work very much. And if you'd like to learn more about her, you should watch the interview that I did with her. It was great, and she talks about all books, including this one in it. Okay, we've got Skin of the Sea, Natasha Bowen. This is a debut. I believe it is a debut YA as well. I heard about this over Twitter because Noria is amazing. Published by Random House. Oh, I should have said that Dang Black Thing. This was published by Transit Lounge. All right. Simi prayed to the gods once. Now she serves them as Mami Wata, a mermaid, collecting the souls of those who die at sea and blessing their journeys back home. But when a living boy is thrown overboard, Simi does the unthinkable. She saves his life, going against an ancient decree, and punishment awaits those who dare defy it. To protect the other Mami Wata, Simi must journey to the Supreme Creator to make amends. But all is not as it seems. There's the boy she's rescued, who knows more than he should. And something is shadowing Simi, something that would rather see her fail. Danger lurks at every turn, and as Simi draws closer, she must brave vengeful gods, treacherous lands, and legendary creatures. Because if she doesn't, then she risks not just the fate of all Mami Wata, but also the world as she knows it. So this is Natasha Bowen. She is of Nigerian and Welsh descent, lives in Cambridge, England, where she grew up. And she is obsessed with Japanese and German stationery and spends stupid amounts on notebooks. I appreciate that. Which she then features on her secret Instagram. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. I love the cover. I love that it's 15th century because we know what happens to black folks in the 15th century. Nothing good. And the idea that this is, I mean, it's a mermaid story, so obviously I'm going to read it. But just this connection to the spirits and needing to make amends for you know, needing to make amends for something that she shouldn't have done, saving this man's life. It's sort of got elements of the Little Mermaid story in there. We'll see how far that goes, but this is Skin of the Sea. All right, now there's Moth. Very interesting cover. Moth has lost her family in an accident, although she lives with her aunt. She feels alone and uprooted. That is until she meets Sonny, a boy who is also searching for his roots. If he knows more about where he comes from, maybe he'll be able to understand his ongoing depression. And if Moth can help him feel grounded, perhaps she too will uncover the history she carries in her bones. Moth and Sonny take a road trip, love road trip stories, that has them chasing ghosts and searching for ancestors. Both separately and together, they embark on a journey that is surprising, powerful, and unforgettable. Here is an exquisite and uplifting novel about identity, first love, and the ways in which our memories and our roots steer us through the universe. This book is written in verse. The last book I read that was written in verse was Home is Not a Country by Sophia Alilo, and it was beautiful. So I'm certainly attracted to the ideas of moths and butterflies and creation and going through different stages. This is also a bit of an ode to a grandfather. If you read the inscription, she talks about her gray bearded grandfather. And this is inspired by her wanting to honor his memory. Amber McBride is an English professor at the University of Virginia and holds an MFA in poetry from Emerson College. Her poetry has been published in several literary magazines, including Plowshares and The Rumpus. She lives in Virginia with her dog Shiloh. Moth is her young adult debut. So I am looking forward to this, and I just like the starkness of the white cover and the colors here. So that's cool. And then we've got Destroyer of Light by Jennifer Marie Brissett. Jennifer Marie Brissett is the mastermind behind Elysium, which was an amazing and indescribable novel. I absolutely loved it. It twisted my brain and didn't untwist it, and I'm okay with that. I don't know if this one is going to be as brain twisty, but Elysium was wow. So here's what we got. The Matrix. So this is the second book that's referenced The Matrix, and that makes me very, very happy. The Matrix meets an Afrofuturistic retelling of Persephone, set in a science fiction underworld of aliens, refugees, and genetic engineering. Like, what? Of course, we're happy about this. Having destroyed Earth, the alien conquerors resettle the remains of humanity on the planet Eleusis. In the three habitable areas of the planet, day, dusk, and night, the haves and have-nots, criminals and dissidents, and former alien conquerors irrevocably bind three stories. 1. A violent warlord abducts a young girl from the agrarian outskirts of Dusk, leaving her mother searching and grieving. 2. Genetically modified twin brothers desperately search for the lost son of a human-alien couple in a criminal underground trafficking children for unknown purposes. And 3. A young woman with inhuman powers rises through the insurgent ranks of soldiers in the borderlands of night. Their stories skate across years, building to a single confrontation when the fate of all, human and alien, balances upon a knife's edge. This book is designed for audiences 18 plus due to scenes of physical and sexual violence and themes that some may find disturbing. So just be aware of that. Destroyer of Light, just black glue on the inside. And on my little sticky note, I'm probably just talking about how amazing Elysium was. I said thrilling synopsis, published by Tor in 2021. Very, very exciting plot. She cracked my head open with Elysium. That's what I wrote. I enjoy how she writes. I love the dimension of Jennifer Marie Brissett's writing and the perspective. Her ability to build cities is just amazing. And the blurb by P. Jelly Clark got me thinking. P. Jelly Clark writes, Destroyer of Light grapples with themes of both the human and post-human experience in a way that is wholly original and seductively engaging. This is a tale not only of becoming and transformation, but about the choices we make that bring us to our destinations. In a time of new, meaningful, and thrilling science fiction, Destroyer of Light is a must-read. Destroyer of Light, Jennifer Marie Brissett. Okay. And then we've got Tade Thompson, Far from the Light of Heaven. The cover is really like, I love fluorescence and blacks. It's very 1990s and this glitch art. Very cool. All right. The colony ship Ragtime docks in the Lagos system, having traveled light years to bring 1,000 sleeping souls to a new home among the stars. But when first mate Michelle Campion rouses, she discovers some of the sleepers will never awake. Answering Campion's distress call, investigator Rashid Finn is tasked with finding out who is responsible for these deaths. Soon a sinister mystery unfolds aboard the gigantic vessel, one that will have repercussions for the entire system, from the scheming politicians of Lagos Station to the colony planet Bloodroot to other far-flung systems, and indeed to Earth itself. This is written by Tade Thomas, who did the Worm World trilogy. It's like right there. It's Rosewater, Insurrection, and Redemption. That trilogy, which I think I'm going to be reading next year. The plan is to do a buddy read with another booktuber. And published by Orbit Books 2021. I have his other books. He's African, he's Nigerian. This is a space opera. I want to know more about him and his books, and I love the mystery of all of this. So that is Far from the Light of Heaven. Okay. So this book I found out about through Rebel Women's Lit. So that is a community online. It's queer. It's based in Jamaica. It's queer book club. They have a library. You can also become a sustaining member for $30 a month, I believe it is, online. So find out more about Rebel Women's Lit. They're a great resource for Caribbean literature. Tend to focus on speculative, but they actually read beyond that. So if you want to support Caribbean writers in the Caribbean and read Caribbean, and also just connect with amazing people, Rebel Women's Lit is the way to go. So this is how I found out about Daylight Come by Diana Macaulay. This is published by Pt.4 Press, which is the home of the best in Caribbean and Black British fiction, poetry, literary criticism, memoirs, and historical studies. Okay, are you ready? It is 2084, okay? Climate change has made life on the Caribbean island of Bajaku a grueling ordeal. The sun is so hot that people must sleep in the day and live and work at night, all the time under brutal Domin rule. Food is scarce and people over 40 are expendable. Oh, that's unfortunate. Sorrel can take no more and persuades her mother, Bibi, that they should flee the city and head for cooler ground high in the interior. She has heard there are groups known as tribals who have found ways of evading feral animals and surviving up there. Diana Macaulay takes the reader on a tense, threat-filled odyssey as mother and daughter attempt their escape. On the way, Sorrel learns much about the nature of self-sacrifice, maternal love, and the dreadful choices that must be made in the cause of self-protection. This sounds amazing. Daylight Come by Diana Macaulay. Diana Macaulay is a Jamaican writer and environmental activist. She's written 4 previous novels, including Gone to Drift, Dogheart, and Hurricane, published by Pt.4 Press. Her short fiction has been widely published, and her story, The Dolphin Catcher, won a Commonwealth Short Story Regional Prize. Daylight Come. This sounds good. There's a darkness to it that I really appreciate, and I love me a mother-daughter story, so yes. Okay, the next 3 are older works, and they are pretty darn interesting. So this one is Wizard of the Crow. This was written in... I found out about Wizard of the Crow because Noria is amazing and gives me suggestions. This was from Ngugiwa Thiong'o. This was published in 2006. It is over 700 pages. So again, This is going to be a commitment. I am not sure when I'm going to get to this, just in terms of time. So, commencing in our times and set in the fictional free public world of Aburiria, Wizard of the Crow dramatizes with corrosive humor and keenness of observation a battle for control of the souls of the Aburian people, fashioning the stories of the most powerful and the ordinary into a dazzling mosaic. This magnificent novel reveals humanity in all its endless, surprising complexity. So this describes the book, but it doesn't tell us very much about it. I wrote, no idea what to make of it, but Noria recommended it, so there's that. That is basically the reason why I have this book, Wizard of the Crow. This is probably going to be a good, like, going away for a week travel kind of book. And then this is Stigmata. And I got this one because it is a time travel story that predates Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. Oh, no, it doesn't. It postdates it. Why did I get it? Yes. I got this book because in Body Minds Reimagined by Dr. Sammy Shock, she talked about Kindred as well as Stigmata in her chapter. Is it chapter 1 or chapter 2? Chapter 2. Whose reality is it anyway? Deconstructing able-mindedness. Now here, in this chapter, she starts talking a little bit about the social construction of able-mindedness, race, and gender. And in it she talks about things like mental stability. And here's a quote. Mental stability is framed as the outside or opposite of able-mindedness. As a result, understanding the gendered and racialized histories of mental disability also helps us understand the social construction of able-mindedness. After all, as Black feminist theorist Bell Hooks asserts, the margins define the center. So, she starts talking about Stigmata, and I actually had to stop reading at that point because I thought, I want to actually read about Stigmata. And she says here, Stigmata has received very little critical attention in comparison to texts like Butler's Kindred and Toni Morrison's Beloved, likely because Perry has not published work since Stigmata's prequel, A Sunday in June, came out in 2004. When scholars have engaged the text, however, it is typically in connection to the other two major Black women speculative fiction neo-slave narratives. So it doesn't really talk here about what Stigmata is about. But apparently the protagonist in here becomes physically possessed by her ancestors, I think is what happens. Which is a very, very different take on this whole time travel and encountering the past, right? In what are called neo-slave narratives. So let's see if there's a family tree in here, which is awesome. And I don't think there's a synopsis in this one. There isn't. Yeah, there isn't. So this was published by Hyperion in 1998. And there is I believe what happens is the main character engages in some kind of time travel or possession of her ancestors, and then maybe has like a task or something. I remember that I didn't want to read too much about this. I wanted to go into this without much context at all, except for the fact that it is sort of part of a trinity of Kindred, Beloved, and then Stigmata. The use of the term Stigmata suggests that she actually gets marked by her ancestors, and that it is kind of like perhaps a more violent possession or connection or something. But anyway, this is Stigmata by, let me just get to her, Phyllis Alicia Perry. And Let's see if there's a bio in the back. There isn't a bio in the back. Yeah, it's just her. So anyway, I will let you know what I think of this. And I'm glad that Dr. Sami Shock referred to it in her writing, because otherwise I would not have known about this book. All right, another book that I didn't know about but was written a very long time ago, and thank you very much to Isis from Sister Sci-Fi and Nisi Shaw, because I didn't know about Of One Blood. This was written by Pauline Hopkins, and this was written in a time before Octavia E. Butler. This was published in, it says it was, yeah, this book, when was it originally? The cover was 2004, but this book was written 1902. So Of One Blood is the last of 4 novels written by Pauline Hopkins. She is considered by some the most prolific African-American woman writer and the most influential literary editor of the first decade of the 20th century, though she is one of the lesser-known literary figures of the much-lauded Harlem Renaissance. Of One Blood first appeared in serial form in Colored American Magazine in November and December of 1902, and the January 1903 issues of the publication during the 4-year period that Hopkins served as its editor. It tells the story of Ruel Briggs, a medical student who couldn't care less about being black and appreciating African history, but finds himself in Ethiopia on an archaeological trip. His motive is to raid the country of lost treasures, which he does find in the ancient land. However, he discovers much more than what he bargained for, the painful truth about blood, race, and the half of his history that was never told. Hopkins wrote the novel intending, in her own words, to raise the stigma of the degradation of the black race. The title Of One Blood refers to biological kinship of all beings. So yes, it's a classic precursor to many writers, including Octavia E. Butler. And there's something mysterious and extraordinary that the protagonist finds while he's in Ethiopia, so I'm curious about that. And the cover actually reminds me of The Unbroken, which is C.L. Clarke's debut novel, just the person, the shades of brown, standing in between 2 pillars. So take a look at the cover for The Unbroken and then look at this, and I think there's something interesting here. All right. Oh, that's it. That's it. Okay, so that is the end of this. Yes, this is my second last stack. This is video 4 in the massive haul. Let me know which of these stories you find the most compelling, and if you would like to let me know that you've watched this video all the way to the end, I would love an emoji of some books, and also an emoji of something that reminds you of the book that you're most interested in. Okay? Remember to read with purpose. I hope that this list gave you some ideas of books that you might want to check out in 2022, or maybe some gifts that you'd like to buy for the bookish person on your list. I will see you in the final of these haul videos. All right, everyone. Bye.